So now you take your 10 pounds of your usable meat, take your micro-food spices, pour them in. The important is that you have to mix it around still. There's only 10 pounds of product in each pan. There's going to be extra space in each pan. So it's important to make sure that every piece of tenderloin has the right consistency of both the marinade and the spices. You're going to need aluminum foil. Take your time with the tenderloin. You're marinating it together. So you have your wrapped in, completed product. You have your wrapped in completed product. Got to wrap it with 2 levels of aluminum foil. Nice and tight around the edges. Put about your day label with your name, the time, the date. And it's going to sit in the, it's going to marinate in the refrigerator for 24 hours. Yesterday we went over the trimming and the opening and the cutting of the raw part for the tenderloin. We've had our tenderloin in the marinade now for 24 hours. What we're going over now is the searing, the baking in the oven, and the re-slicing it ready for meal production. What's important to know before you put your tenderloin on the sear plate is that you heat the sear plate up to 450 degrees for at least 10 minutes. So it's smoky hot, right? So we're looking at tenderloin. We have all the marinade, all the consistency in the broth that we had before, we cut yesterday. We're just going to go through and we're going to place it on the grill. Nice and easy. So you see as you place it on the grill, it's got that smoky hot effect, which is exactly what should happen. As you place the tenderloin on the grill and it's hot of an effect, the muscle fibers of the tenderloin actually contract. What that does, it allows all of the juices in the tenderloin to marinate overnight, so you get stuff inside the tenderloin as opposed to evaporate out on the grill. Take your extra pan with the extra juice. We'll put it here. We're going to use that here in just a couple of minutes. You don't pour the tenderloin juice over the tenderloin. What we're going to do is we're going to take each piece of tenderloin. We're going to let it sear on all sides for 2 minutes each side. This is in between a 6 and an 8 minute process. What we're looking for is a nice dark sear on the outside of the tenderloin, and then we're going to put it in the oven and bake it afterwards. So as we go through, you want to zoom into here. As we start turning the tenderloin over, you notice that it's got that dark sear. It's exactly what it should look like. Since tenderloin is in kind of an odd shape, it doesn't have 2 or 3 or 4 sides, you gotta make sure they cover every side of the tenderloin. So some pieces of this need 1 flip, some will need 2, some might even need 3. It's always best practice to keep the tenderloin grouped together so you get that even cooking. Notice again that dark sear on the edge of each tenderloin. It means you've seared it correctly. The key to searing correctly is make sure the grill height is 450 degrees. So some of the pieces have a dark sear on all sides. Those will go directly into our pan, back in the pan. Now some of them are seared on 2 sides, but they have a 3rd side left. So you need to go through and make sure that all the sides of the tenderloin are seared completely. You see again, seared, seared, and then not seared. So this one, for example, is seared on all sides. These ones are seared on all sides. And those are just cooking up this way. We have all the sides on a dark sear for all the meat. Once our pan is ready to go in the oven. Take it just like we did yesterday. We wrap it with 2 layers of aluminum foil. Nice and tight around the edges. We're going to move right to the oven. Put that directly in the oven. What's important? You just go for the temperature. Make sure it's at 375 degrees. 375 degrees for the period of time it needs to cook. And that period of time is going to be for 20 minutes. You can set the timer for 20 minutes. It's 375 degrees. It's been 20 minutes. We took it out of the oven. We're going to temp it now. What's important is that when you take the tenderloin out of the oven, you only set the initial timer for 20 minutes. Because depending on the size of the tenderloin pieces, temperature of the oven, etc., etc., it may cook faster, it may cook at a slower temperature. So 20 minutes initially. We'll go through and temp it out. What we're looking for is 145 degrees and a couple different pieces. So we have 151 there. That's perfect. 145 degrees. 145 degrees is medium in temperature. So once it's medium in temperature, we want to stop the cooking process. The only way to do so is to transfer the product from one pan to another. This juice is still 180 degrees, the pan's still hot, everything's good about it, so we need to make sure we transfer the product. Your scales tear down at 0. Take your piece of fillet and you're going to cut it with the grain. So if the grain, you can see the grain runs this way. You're going to cut it with the grain, straight down the center of the piece. Lay it on its side. Then you turn and cut it against the grain in approximately 3/4 ounce pieces. Once it's in a 3/4 ounce piece, you're going to put it in your new pan. This is going to stop the cooling process. As you go through the cutting of it, just go through and place it down like this. So if each piece is 3/4 of an ounce, it means it'll be about 4 pieces in a small, 6 pieces in a medium, and 9 pieces in a large. You notice if you cut the right way, you can see how good that tenderloin is. That's exactly how the presentation of the dish is going to be. So you're going to have your whole piece here. You're going to cut it with the grain, so the grain runs from end to end. You're going to cut it with the grain, right down the middle. Turn it outside. Then you're going to cut it against the grain in 3/4 ounce pieces. So there's nice consistency. You'll notice all these pieces of meat should be right about medium in temperature. So when we cool it down, it's medium, and when we reheat it, it's right in the medium well area. Place them in the cooling pan so they can cool down. Same thing, with the grain, turn outside, cut it against the grain in 3/4 ounce pieces. All of our tenderloin cut in this nice 3/4 ounce pieces. All of it looks consistent, all of it looks great. Juices are all the way through it. Once it's completely finished cut, we take our tenderloin marinade, pour it back over the tenderloin. Then we're going to put it just like this in the walk-in cooler until it's at 40 degrees. Now all of our tenderloin is down to 40 degrees. It's been in the cooler for about 2.5 hours. We temped it out to 40 degrees. We're going to do a couple of example dishes. This is a small tenderloin stir fry and a medium tenderloin stir fry. We have a rice and our stir fry veggies. And all we're going to do is go through and measure out the amount of tenderloin that we need. The smallest can be 3 ounces. Make sure you get 3 ounces right on the dot. But we make sure we do it. It's all about the presentation. Medium's going to be 5 ounces. By the 5 ounce mark. So there we go, we have a small tenderloin stir fry, medium tenderloin stir fry.